Okay, is there a
Hi, So. It says we're on the air.
there's supposed to be a thing that goes wait, this is because there's usually a how do I say this, like a start?
Oh, the Substack part.
Yeah. You
Well,
know
that
what?
would be on your side.
Yeah, let me
Uh,
just it's not coming in yet, so just
did you see where it has the channels up at the top? Is there the Substack channel up there?
at the top. Like right now it says
Oh, we're
45.
live. Hey, we're live on
Hey,
Substack. So
are we?
yeah,
Great.
so we
Um,
can do tech support while people join, and fix
yeah,
computers.
we are because time for life. There we go. There we go. I think my
I just
screen might
muted it
be
because then I hear us twice.
late. That is really bizarre because I'm seeing there's already 31 viewers on my tab and then it says zero on my computer.
Well, the only place that matters is our friends over on Substack, and I'm seeing them joining the
Okay.
chat. So that means it's a good thing. And usually there's about a 15, 20-second delay between what
Okay.
between real live and Substack live.
Let me just try to see this chat because right now I'm like Um, okay, I should say, first of all, welcome to Time for Life. I hope I'm all set up. This is my first time being an autonomous host. so, um, welcome everyone. I am sort of seeing the chat. So, if ever I miss something, just let me know. Jason, do you see it well? Do you see the chat well?
Yeah, I've got it there. I see Nick out there. I see Monica and Neuro D is out there.
Oh, great. Well,
So yeah, we're good. And Sushi just joined on. So yeah, it's all good.
all right, thank you. Well, let me do this again. Well, welcome to Time for Life. I am and I am streaming under Sick of the Shit publication, but who is my good friend Nick Perro, who I also do chronically illing out as a co-host. It's every Monday. A lot of people in the chat are here that we actually know. And today I have the pleasure of having a guest, and I should say a co host as well, who is Jason Odell. And the reason that I am by myself, should want to say hi to Beth. My co host Beth is unfortunately ill. So, and also our guest. That was supposed to be Wendy also had something she couldn't make it. And so I really want to say hi to them, and I hope you're doing better. And mostly, thank you, Jason, for saving
No
the
problem.
show because you accepted last minute.
I just unmirrored myself. I'm like, this is just everything was backwards. So now
Are you
the
okay?
video stream is polarized in the right direction.
All right.
I crossed the
Um,
streams. Don't ever do that at home.
you mean losing the stream?
No. It was a Ghostbusters reference.
Oh,
Don't ever cross the streams.
I think. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. I
Bad things will
probably.
happen.
I
This
was.
is really bad.
I saw that when I was little, so it was in French, and it would have been something like ne croisez pas les flux, ne croisez pas les flux.
Whatever works. I'm good.
So, welcome, Jason. How are you today?
I'm great. Just finished my coffee, finished watching the daily whatever, like I always do every morning, which is always fun.
Oh,
And just putting things together for the rest of the day. I'm going downtown later this afternoon to protest in front of my congressman's office because he is a full rubber stamp for the person in charge right now. And I'm not a fan of that. So
mm.
we're going to go down there and let him know.
Which is honestly, I mean, it's really great that you're doing that because you're take. I know it's not the first time, right? You streamed before, like live.
Yeah, I just I feel like it gives everyone a little bit of encouragement that there's actually other people out there.
Yeah,
Um, I've been to way too many protests in the last year.
which is kind of scary when you think about it because it means that something abnormal is going on.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, and I will say the vibe at the one on this weekend after what happened was
Yes.
a different level.
Oh yeah.
Like it has always been motivated, and there always been positive, and we're not in any danger here of having you know true craziness break out, but at the same time you could tell that people were, this time people were pissed.
Yeah.
People were absolutely sick of this shit to plug plug you guys. Thanks, Nick.
Oh,
That was a great title.
I think that we've been, I mean, that was like the ultimate. I mean, it's like every time you're like wondering, like, could it be worse? And it ends up
Yes.
being
The
worse.
answer is yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm really, really sorry about that. And um,
Well, people are starting to see it now. It's getting more
yeah, like it's
you
like
know
you can totally tell they're lying, and then you see the proofs that they're lying. So, I mean, unless, but
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
but that's what's going on. This that's I have the privilege of being able to be working from home, self-employed, so I can take the time out of my day to do that if I so choose. Not everybody has that option.
yeah,
So
which
it's a
is
thing.
which is also good because now you're taking the time for helping me out, and especially for taking the time for life,
There
basically,
you
which
go.
is
Yes, because life keeps coming at you fast.
yeah. And also uh it's important to take that time. I mean, I would say it's important whenever, but specifically uh in these kind of crazy times, because I mean, it's enough of the doom and gloom, like
Right.
and I think that it is okay to, because we have this tendency, right, to feel guilty all the time. It's like
Hmm.
you're like, I don't know if what you think, maybe it's the way we were raised, or like, oh, don't worry about this, like this person or this off. Like my father would always say something like, you know those kids in Africa don't eat, so kind of like
Right.
eat your lunch and don't complain, and you would kind of
Right.
shame.
Yeah.
So
There's kids starving in China. Finish your oatmeal. Um, that sort of thing.
yeah. So
Well,
is it
but here we are. We made it, and we're still. I think we're starting to stand up for everything. So fingers crossed.
so my segue was more, what I was trying to say is basically, let's not feel guilty about taking that time to discuss joy, because this is what this show is about, is to discuss what brings you joy, and what do you do to take that time.
Mhm.
And right away when I knew that I was gonna have to find someone, I was like, oh, I've never been on a live with Jason, and we've been exchanging a little bit about photography, seeing you in other lives, like in chats. And I was like, I have to ask him because we have so many things in common, it seems, with the photography, the traveling. But anyways, I will first,
You have a
please.
better passport.
Huh?
You have a better passport than I do.
Uh, right now, yes.
People like Canadians. Not
Yeah.
so-
Hey, just an aside, I've seen there were article of people like trying to pretend they were Americans and pretend they were
Mhm.
Canadian
It's a
because
thing.
yeah, it's anyways, it's too bad that it's coming to that. I mean, but yeah, I have to say I like my passport right now, and so so Jason, can you please introduce yourself a little?
Sure, no problem. Um, so I'm Jason Odell, and I got on a Substack just over a year ago, beginning of last year. My Substack is the photographer's perspective because I needed to come up with something clever. Um, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but
It
I
is.
am a
It is.
I'm a full-time self-employed photographer in Colorado Springs, Colorado, in the U.S. I've been doing this full time since roughly October of 2010. So I've managed to keep my head above the water this long. Um, no, I don't
Wow.
do weddings unless it's a special friend. I did a wedding in December for a friend of mine, but it was a very low key thing. Um, and what I really like to do is educate people about photography because when I was growing up, you needed a dark room
Mm,
to do anything beyond what you could send to a lab or certainly send to the drugstore. So, being inspired by the landscape photographers, the guys who would process everything. I'm talking like Ansel Adams, but all the other folks in that same in that same field. And so when digital came along, I started embracing the image processing side of it.
Mm,
Because unlike a roll of film, which goes and gets developed all the same way, every digital capture that you make, you can adjust and tweak. It's just literally like having undeveloped film for
yeah,
each frame.
yeah.
So I pride myself in that process, and what I like to do is share that process with my colleagues, my clients. My clients, I started doing photo safaris and workshops, and that's expanded out to more travel, which is one other thing I like to do. Um, so I will take clients in small groups to go places where you could go anyway,
Mhm.
but now you're getting it from a photographer's perspective, so to speak. Everyone there is interested in the same thing, which
Yeah,
is seeing stuff, but taking pictures of that.
yeah.
And then along the way, because I have spent so much time learning all these different techniques and whatever, I feel like I'm able to provide some creative inspiration so that when you're at an interesting place, you can capture it in a way, in a photograph, that is memorable and not
Mm,
just a click, a snapshot.
yeah.
So that's what I like to do. It's
And you've been able to do this. I'm just there's an expression "je tire mon chapeau," which means like it has to do with a hat there,
tip
like
your hat, you tip your cap. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because I've only gotten into photography as an amateur, I would say, like with very good gear. About oops, ah, are we okay?
You're good. We're good.
Okay,
We're good.
my screen just went like white. So yeah, about I would say about 2 years, not even, but I'm looking at my cameras with all the little like everything that's on it. I'm like, okay, like let's click click. Like,
Right. Right.
but yeah, so but I have been around other photographers who do this professionally, and I know my husband hires photographers, so and anyways, they've got a studio at his work, so
That's
I
cool.
know how it's it's big. I don't know what you think, but all the technical that you used to do for with a dark room now it's not like physical, it's all digital, right? But
Right.
it's still a
Right.
lot of work.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's so accessible now. It's almost become commoditized. And especially with cell phone cameras, delivering in many cases for the average person an out of the box result that is going to be superior
Yeah,
to what would come out of a DSLR without processing. Your camera does a lot of processing for you, and
absolutely.
and so you don't realize that, and so that's a thing. On the other hand, I really enjoy this intersection of creative and technical.
Hmm.
If you take the time to learn the technical stuff, you can do some really wonderful um, you know things that you couldn't do with a phone.
Honestly, I'm just laughing because I've been in a Instagram like community challenge group, for
Uh-huh.
maybe a year or two, and I keep talking to other photographers. I'm like, they're like, you gotta learn the gear, and I'm like, yeah, but and
There's in chemistry, it was activation energy. You got to put in a certain amount of work to get over that initial hump.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
part. And um and one of the things that I'm been working on, and I've just gotten so scatterbrained, is a series of 3 sort of webinars, if you will, that go through the fundamental elements of digital photography. And I posted one under I did it last year, and it was the fundamentals of exposure.
Mm.
And then I have another one that I've been working on, the fundamentals of autofocus. And then the third part is, and then there's everything else. Because everything else is just like, settings that are important, but not every day. Like if you know how to turn on your camera, focus it, and set the exposure right for whatever you're doing, you're 95% of the way there.
Okay, I'll try to remember
You
that,
know,
but I really need to, follow your work more closely. And I mean, I'm ashamed to say this, but I had when I bought my camera, I think like I had an hour and a half like free class to just to learn how to use
Mhm.
my camera, and I didn't take
Oh,
it.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're all the same except for the fact that all the buttons will be called something different depending on which camera you have.
Yeah.
But exposure is still the same.
Oh
Whether
yeah.
it was film or digital, I try to explain to people, no, nothing changed with digital. The rules are still the same.
Well, I
Um,
always say, sometimes, I mean, you know how it started, and tell me what you think. It started like I just see stuff and I find it so beautiful, which brings me joy, right? And then I'm
mhm,
like, oh, if there would be more light, I could like use this. But I mean, like not use, but like it's like I almost like it's not, I don't have a camera, but I see it. Like I
mhm,
see, like, oh, I would like to take a picture of this because now the lighting is good, or it's almost like an instinct,
mhm.
or
Well,
when
and the
you
good news is, there's a camera in your phone, so it's usually with you. So even if that's all you have, the best camera is the one you have.
yeah.
The
Oh,
one that's with you. And it
yeah, I
doesn't
do
doesn't
that.
matter, right? So things are so unpredictable here where I live, like you never know if you're going to get a sunset, like a
Oh,
real one with
a-
clouds. We
and
either
why
don't
is
have
that?
clouds because we are on the east side of the Colorado Rocky Mountain Range. Pikes Peak is here. So the sun is down behind the mountains before
That's
sunset.
true.
And so you really can't predict when it's going to happen. But when it
Mm,
does, sometimes it's absolutely spectacular. Other times, so we'll get an amazing sunrise. It will last exactly 3 minutes. By the
mm,
time you realize that you're not in a place to photograph it or whatever. You have to grab your phone or whatever. It's it is what it is. Colorado is a tricky place. It's beautiful, but it's also very challenging in terms of the light, which is why I sometimes go other places.
which is why I mean, it's a good excuse to go traveling, right?
Mhm, absolutely, every time, and it's even a better reason if you can be traveling with other like-minded individuals who are there to,
Oh yeah.
who like this. Because I've said it in other times, but going way back, I took a trip to a long time ago. I took a trip to London when I was in high school, and
Wow.
and I had a camera because I was a photographer on the yearbook staff. I had my film camera, and you can't stop. You're on the bus. You're with 80 other people, and you've got 10 minutes here, and there's no way to get good photos.
Oh, for sure.
And I have pictures of the Buckingham Palace guards, through the bus window, or through and that's what it was. And then other times where you're on a tour and there's the one person who brought their camera and maybe a tripod, and everyone is getting back on the bus and you haven't even set your tripod yet,
Mm,
and
mm,
they're like, get back on the bus, it's time to go to the next thing. And if you are at all interested in photography, and I don't mean like you have to be totally hardcore about it, but just you want better photos,
mm,
then that's no way to go on a trip.
mm-hmm.
So what I try to offer my clients is that, yeah, you're going to go to those places, but you're going to have the time to spend. Yeah, there's going to be, a tour and there's going to be things, but there's going to be a small group. Everyone's taking pictures. So no one is grabbing you. We're going to get off that bus and say, okay, we got 45 minutes or an hour here to
Yeah.
go and find stuff to take
Oh
pictures of.
yeah.
And so when you're talking about things that bring you joy,
Yeah.
it's the finding.
Yeah. The
It's the
finding
finding.
what
It's
you see or
it's
looking.
it's getting into, athletes call it the zone, right? The getting in the zone. Um, you have to. This is anywhere you go. Let's just say you go and you pull up and there's a beautiful landscape overlook spot. There's a scenic area. It's got signs. Good for pictures. And you get out of the car or whatever, and you see the thing, and you take the picture, the wide shot, the big shot, and then you go back and you go to the next thing. And what you realize is that you didn't really get anything unique from that place. If, on the other hand, you spend 20 minutes there and you're just looking through your camera, maybe not even taking pictures, but just looking for things, and you start discovering different subjects, different compositions, and all of a sudden, hey, this is kind of interesting. And here's a different look at this same scene that everyone's photographed a million times.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's for me, that's a lot of it. It's finding that thing. I like to say, um, to people who come with me on my trips, that they're going to get the pictures that their friends and their family are going to be like, well, wait a minute, I went there once and I never saw that. What's the deal?
Oh, that's really cool.
That's what we try to do. Think of it. And it's easy to get distracted by your camera. So
Hmm.
the other thing, it's to try to also appreciate the place and time where you are.
Yeah. Would you say that the fact that let's say you're with a small group, and let's just talk about the Giants Causeway in Ireland, because you have been, right?
Several times.
That's it. So, okay, let's just say we get there, and I went a year ago, or a year, was it a year or 2 years? Anyway, so, and it's so hard to take a good picture because it's packed with tourists everywhere, right?
Yes, it is.
So,
So what do
uh,
you do?
and then you're like, you you want to take the time, but at the same time, would you describe like being in the zone as trying to just shut all these, I should say, like stimulus, because everybody's, you know,
Well,
like,
it's hard. It's really hard in popular places. So Giant's Causeway is in County Antrim, Northern Ireland. I know this because my sister Jessica lives there. She lives outside of Belfast and has been there, and she has dual citizenship, and I'm jealous. Um,
I'm
so,
like, I was about to say, lucky brother. I mean, you have a place
well, I
to.
have a place to crash out sometimes. Yes, when we go and visit. So,
That's amazing.
um, but the Giant's Causeway is up on the north coast. So it's on the north part of Northern Ireland. You're looking north, and it goes out, and it's for those who haven't seen it. I mean, maybe I can find a picture for later, but
You'll post pictures
it's
after.
it's basalt columns, those hexagonal
Mm,
basalt columns,
mm,
and there's other places that have them as well. You can see them in Iceland, for example, in
mm.
near Vic. You can see them in California at a place called Devil's Postpile National Monument. But these things are all cool. It's and fun fact. Um, if you ever watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and they were
Yes.
talking about, oh wow, there were many steps and columns, kind of like Led Zeppelin's Houses of the Holy album cover. Well, they took the photos there. That's literally where they shot the cover for Houses of the Holy. Okay, never mind the creepy naked children on there. Um, but
Right.
but but this is the spot. So it's a very popular destination.
Absolutely.
And so there's really only two things you can do. You can go there late after everyone leaves, or get there really early before everybody shows up. And the only
And
way
the
you can do
lighting
that,
is just not the same then.
right? And so the only time I've been there with a group, what we ended up doing is we had 2 nights in the town of Bushmills,
Okay.
which
Yeah,
is
that's
right
like,
there, right?
yeah.
It's right close by. And yes, that's where they make Bushmills whiskey. Highly recommended if that's your thing. Um, so we got out with the driver first thing after our first night in town to go down there, and we were able to get out there. It was still nice light. It wasn't sunrise or anything like that, but it was still nice light. And then there was another time when my sister and I was just visiting her several years ago, and we just went late and got there at sunset.
Oh, wow.
Um, where there wasn't much of a sunset, but at least we had. And by this point, everyone was pretty much gone,
Yeah.
and you could just do it. But then techniques come in handy too. Um, I will use long exposures with a tripod.
Yeah.
And you know what happens with a long exposure when someone walks through your shot? They don't show up in it.
Really?
That's right. If you do a very long exposure, people disappear.
No way. I,
Yeah.
I, I had no idea.
Because they're not in the frame long enough to register and be recorded, unless they're
Oh,
wearing a very bright article of clothing or they stop and chat for a while.
wow.
So I took a group to London and Paris in we went in 2019, and we got to Paris like literally the week after Notre Dame burned down, which was pretty
Oh,
horrible. But we were in Paris, and silly me, I went to London on Easter weekend. That was a planning failure on my part. So it was crowded, and we were down. If you go to London, there's the Millennium Bridge. It's a footbridge, and it goes from the across the Thames, and St. Paul's in the background, and there were millions of people on it. It was just insane, right? So what do you do? And one of the things I did with the group was we went down underneath it and
wow.
shot the river with the bridge above us because there's no people there.
That's,
But I used a very strong dark filter, and I got like I don't know, 2 or 3 minute exposure. We're talking minutes, not seconds. And the people on the bridge pretty much just disappear, or
that's
they blur out to the point where they're no longer a distracting element in the photo.
yeah.
I love people, but I don't like them in my pictures. I don't know why.
It's interesting because I'm kind of the same. Like I'll definitely focus more on landscapes and wildlife. So I think,
That's my
and
thing most of the time,
yeah, yeah,
But travel is a different thing, and it's fun, and there are always going to be people.
yeah,
There are always going to be people. So when there's like imagine a street and there's people on it. If you take that shot, okay, um, the people become the subject. They are the dominant. Your brain just
mm,
goes right in there, right?
mm,
Take that same shot with a half second exposure. The people are blurry.
wow,
There's a famous photo of like Union Station or Grand Central Station in New York from like the 20s or 30s where the light is streaming through the big windows up top. And of course, everyone back in those days smoked. So the light was, beaming through the smoky
that's so
air. But because of the type of photography and the cameras they had back then, it was not a fast exposure. It was probably like a second or a half a second exposure because that's the technology of film then. It just wasn't fast enough, wasn't
yeah,
sensitive enough. And so the people are just an element. You see the architecture, there's people there, but the people aren't what your eye is drawn to. They
yeah.
just become an element of the scene. So I like doing stuff like that.
Oh, that's nice. And when you go on travel with a small group of people, do you uh, actually sometimes keep in touch with them afterwards? Like,
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah. I mean, I have some clients that go back to my very first photo safari in 2007, and we're still friends. And he
so
comes on my trips occasionally, but I'm going to do a webinar at some point, slideshow, if you will, on Cuba. But I went to Cuba a couple of years ago, and we needed other people to join. It wasn't for a workshop. It just I wanted to go, and
mhm,
so I reached out to some of my best clients, and I said, hey, if we get a group, we can go, and it'll be cost effective. And so we all went to Cuba. Um, but definitely so there's some clients up in Denver who came to Iceland with me, and then they were like, can we they since they're just up the road, they said, can we let's go out to dinner. And so we did. We met up with them, and um over in the chat, yeah, Shayla is poking at me to remind everyone that I might be going to Africa next year for a safari.
oh, so
So start saving up now, because you want to go.
you said
You want to go
next year?
next October
Is that 2026,
7.
like the one that's
No,
coming
no,
up?
27.
Oh, well, no, I've told you already what I'm aiming to do in September, October of 27. It's because, yeah, but you know what? I mean, now I mean, we're in
Competing.
contact and I'll be following your adventures. And I'm sure something might happen at one point. But yes, I have to go back for humpback
Oh, that's
whale
right.
seasons,
That's
which
right.
is
Right.
in the we'll see. It doesn't mean it will happen. Those
Right.
trips take a
Right.
long time to organize, but yeah,
Well, this is like all this is as close to a private safari as you can get
yeah,
because there it's limited to me, the guide, and 6 people in a Land Rover.
Oh my
So
God.
the Land Rover
Is
has
that in South Africa? Like, is that a
Namibia, which is just north of South Africa on the west coast of Africa.
okay? In French, we call it Nambi.
Okay.
Nambi.
But
Yeah, because
The
my friend.
Namib Desert is on the coast there. The Skeleton Coast. Yeah, look up Skeleton Coast. There's a
Okay.
place called Deadvlei, which is where those you've seen these the bright orange dunes and the white hardpan and the dead trees sticking out from them. You surely have seen, when you see a picture, you'll have said, oh, I've seen that before. That's Namibia. Plus the national parks with all the wildlife,
Oh
where
yeah,
you
I mean,
literally sit in front of a watering hole, a massive watering hole, and there's a electric fence in front of you so that you're safe, and you can just sit there with your tripod and your glass of wine and watch
oh
the
my
animals
God.
come in.
Okay, you have me at wildlife. It's fenced, and there's
Oh,
there's
it'll be amazing. Yeah, this is like, and it's this is something that is hard to share, but it's moments. You can go to Africa, you can go wherever, okay,
yeah.
but most of the time, if you're not doing something on your own, um, which is cool, um, but you're going to be with other people. The people make the safari or the workshop work. I tell my clients all the time, you guys are what make this work. A good group of like-minded people, especially a small group, where everyone is on the same wavelength. I mean,
And
I
how
learn things from my clients all the time. I mean, they'll be doing something. What are you doing? Okay, I learned that out.
and how long do they usually like last for? Like, let's say, is it 10 days? Is it like how many days do
For
you go for?
well, it just depends. If I do like a birding workshop, it's like 5 days, or start to finish. Usually 3.5 days of shooting. Um, I'm doing the Africa trip is more like 13 nights
Wow. Yeah.
because
I
we're
mean,
going to cover. Namibia is a big place. It's
yeah.
very big, and it's like the size of Texas or bigger than Texas, and only 3 million people live there or something. I mean, it's just absolutely not densely populated. Um,
Is this something that brings you joy? The fact that you're actually going into places that seem foreign or unknown, like the culture? Because
Absolutely, absolutely,
as
because
a world traveler, I mean, I want to hear you. I
well,
want to hear
and
what you
and
think.
as someone who lives in the U.S., international travel is not something that most Americans do much of, at least until they get older and retire.
Okay.
Um, it's just not a thing because this country is so huge, and to get anywhere other than say Canada, Mexico, or maybe the Caribbean, it's a pretty significant investment in time and money and everything. Um, so when you go to one of those places, you don't want to feel rushed, but the
Absolutely.
experience that you can learn. I mean, everybody should be able to. It's a shame that American, in school don't travel more because it is prohibitively expensive a lot of the time.
Hmm.
Um, versus living in Europe or something where you drive 2 hours in Europe and you might have driven through 3 countries.
Absolutely.
If I drive 2 hours here, I haven't even left the state of Colorado. Okay,
Well, honestly, I would say it's pretty much the same in Canada in the way that,
right? It's huge.
I remember, I mean, when I was little, just going to see family, was like, okay, well, just going from the town that I was living in to Quebec City was about 5 hours and a half. So, yeah, I mean, you're still in the same province. And yeah, it's, and by the way, I just want to apologize. I'm not looking at the chat right now. So let me know if something happens. I hope everything's good in there. Uh, so, but yeah, so basically, do you find that traveling or just world openness could be something that could be more, how can I say this? Um, it could be encouraged in schools, like throughout the US, or it
Well,
depends.
I mean, that's just it. You have to have. Okay, so like when my son a few years ago, his gifted teacher says we're going to take a trip to Japan and he wanted to go. And
Wow.
it's like, well, okay, was he were we able to do that? Yeah, we could, but most people can't afford to send their kid to Japan, even if it's a good deal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the that's how it goes. So
You're more
um,
likely to go camping on the weekend somewhere.
yeah,
Like,
right. I mean, it's so important to just realize um, that there are other cultures out there, and there's other food out there. There's other things, and they're all really good. But if you don't see it firsthand, you just read about it in a book. It's not the same.
yeah.
I mean, my background's in biology,
Yes. I wanted
and
to ask you about that. What
oh, okay,
well, in the fact that, well, I already linked it to nature, right? Like,
Mhm.
obviously, you must have been in, well, bio. Wait, it depends. It could be like human biology, or it could be
I studied
environmental.
animal physiology, so we're good.
Okay, yeah.
So the
So,
wildlife component is right.
so I was like, oh, I
You know,
have to ask him. Like, okay, what brought him to this when he was younger? What, you know, was it a like purely it must have been something that interests you, something that you thought was inspiring, or anyways, yeah, I want to
well,
ask.
so my dad is a marine biologist. I grew up
Wow. Okay,
in,
I envy you like so much. Like, really, that's what I wanted to do
he's
too
not on the
as a
chat.
kid.
He's not on the chat. I think he follows my Substack maybe. But he
Marine biologist. Wow.
he's and so I grew up in Florida and he studied marine mammals.
Oh,
Um, and usually we just got to see them deceased on the beach because they
yeah.
would wash up. So I had a different kind of childhood. Going out with dad meant he was going to cut up some
Some
whale or
fish.
dolphin or something, and
Yeah.
do that. But I got experience with it, and of course, um, embraced that side. And then the other part of it is that you generally have to have a camera because you're going to take pictures of weather. Now, I like to joke, give my dad a hard time. His pictures usually have a measuring ruler in them for scale.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
um, but no, he comes with me on trips, and he's really started to find the more creative side of it too, which is great. So I always had cameras growing up. My mom had a darkroom growing up. My dad was going off, and once I was old enough, it was a treat for me. I think my mom just liked it because I was getting out one less child in the home at the time to go with dad somewhere on some beach and sit in the truck while it was hot and
Would
get
you spend
exposed
a
to
lot of
stinky
time
things.
on the water, like in boats or anything, or?
No, not typically. Not
Okay.
typically, but there was some opportunities for that. But the point being is that I have a really strong background in nature and biology and all that kind of stuff. And so what I like about it is that when I do go on a workshop that is wildlife oriented, especially if I know a little bit about what's going on, I can usually fill in some, fun um, cocktail party facts,
That's
about what's
awesome.
going on. Like, oh, by the way, this is something that
Or did
happens
you
here.
know that gorillas, when they da 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 da, kind of like, do you mean those fun facts?
So, fun fact: if you ever want to throw shade at someone, just tell them they're hung like a gorilla, because gorillas have the smallest testicle size of most primates.
I've never noticed.
It's a true thing.
Well, do you actually, would you have seen gorillas in Africa? Or are they usually in the mountain, right?
Yeah, that's a different region. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
there won't
So,
be any gorillas where I go to Namibia, but there will be, the elephants and giraffes and zebra as they say in the
yeah.
UK, flamingos.
Mm.
So there was a cool shot that the safari leader sent me that they had. It was flamingos in front of sand dunes, like in the desert. Like
Wow.
that doesn't usually compute, right? You think flamingos and you're thinking, maybe on the beach, but sand dunes, the desert. That was a cool shot.
For
So
sure. It's original. Like,
yeah, it's just a different. Again, it's that just that different thing. And so my camera has been a vehicle to get me out of the house some of the time. and then sometimes out of the country as well, or go to interesting places.
Yeah.
And there's a great saying that someone had as their tagline once, a bad day behind your camera is better than a good day behind your desk.
Okay, I have to quote you.
That wasn't from
That's
me, but
awesome. That's really good. Wow, I like that. Jason, I'm looking at the time, and it's just flying by. I am
wow.
mesmerized by what you're talking about. I'm like, ah, and I hope that I think people are enjoying. Yeah, the chat. I can see a little bit. Hi, Monica. Hi, Neuro. Yes. So my other question, which is pretty much the last question, is how do you make time for life? Like, how do you make time in our crazy worlds, crazy schedules? Well, I kind of now know what you're gonna say because you work from home and you kind of make your
I'm really fortunate in that regard to not have a day job. But when I did have a day job,
yeah. There you go.
you
Tell me,
know,
when you have a day
that
job, how do you make that time
the
to make
way,
sure? Yeah.
yeah, it worked. I mean, it can be really simple. Sometimes I would just go out with a friend and say, you know what, we're going to go out and shoot sunrise. We have a local park here, city park. It's called Garden of the Gods. It's the famous one in Colorado Springs. Red rock formations. You can see Pikes Peak in the background.
Mhm.
And even if it was just, you know what, let's go shoot Garden of the Gods at sunrise tomorrow because why not? And that was okay. I'm going to pack up my camera. I have a motivation. I'm meeting someone to do it because it's very easy here to feel like, oh, I don't want to wake up, right? So go with somebody, have a partner to go with or a friend, whatever, and make time for that. Even going to the zoo, just bring your camera to the zoo, your real camera, and you can use that as you can go say hi to all the animals, but you can also take it as an opportunity to practice. See, I
Yeah,
like practicing, and
I
so
have
I'll
to
get
make
some.
sure though when I go to like parks where there's animals, or even when I go on hikes, I have to be sort of either just with my husband or on my own. But now my daughter's kind of, pretty good at waiting. But if I'm with other people, I get frustrated because, as you said, you kind of like you have to rush. Like you can't just be like a wandering, like, yeah, this is great, I'm observing, and you take all the time you need. So anyways, yeah.
Photography, I like to say, is not a spectator sport. And so if you are trying to get in the zone and the person you're with is not a photography enthusiast or doesn't want to just go wander around, they get real bored real fast. Um,
Absolutely. So
I've
like
been through that
let's
once.
go on
And,
to the next thing,
you
it's
know,
like
her, didn't you get your picture yet? You know, take the damn, what are you doing over there? Take the damn, like, yeah.
yeah, I've learned from like that's why I call it now. Anyways, the word wandering is fine, and I'm
It's
really
good
lucky
to
because my
wander with a
husband is
camera.
so patient.
That's good. That is very good. And so yeah, you have to be able to do that. But I look at it this way. I'll go out with my camera and wander around, and maybe I get a photo that I like. Maybe I don't, but at least I got outside. At least I was doing something. If I went to the zoo, our zoo is terrible for it's the light is bad in our zoo. It's built in the side of the hill. It's great for a walk though. You can get your steps in. But even if I don't get great shots at the zoo, I still saw the animals and I got to screw around with my camera and maybe learn some settings because all those buttons and knobs require occasional routine. You got to reprogram your brain every now and then, remind yourself where all the switches and levers are. So um, that it keeps me sane, but it gets me outside. And then in the last since basically since 2017, to be able to travel with people who share those interests and have it as part of my job, but get to go and do stuff. Um, I mean, I couldn't be happier. I took a group to the Galapagos, and you talk about a place that you'd read about. Everybody in biology's read about it. You know all this stuff, right? And then we're swimming out there, we're snorkeling in this little bay, and they're like, yeah, this is where the Darwin's beagle landed. It was like anchored here in this very bay. And I'm
Oh
looking at
my!
and there were
God.
sea lions and penguins and all kinds of stuff. And it was like, there is no way for me to describe the experience. I
I
can
just
tell
want
you
to
about it,
try to imagine it. Like I'm
but you
trying
can't
to,
imagine it until you're actually there.
yeah. But
Be-
honestly, did you actually snorkel and did you get to see those water lizards there that they
oh, the
almost look like
marine iguanas.
Godzillas?
Yeah, the marine iguanas, they were there. And yeah, fun fact, my dad's PhD advisor studied them in the
Oh
in
wow.
the in the 50s or late 50s, and did a bunch of physiological studies on them. So that was, I got to see them in real life. This is when you read about something, here's this story, you'll read about animal behavior, or
Mm,
they do this, or this is their physiological adaptation to that or whatever. And with the marine iguanas, they eat the seaweed, the
yeah.
because they're herbivorous. They don't eat bugs and stuff. And as a result, they ingest an absolute ton of salt.
Hmm.
And so
Makes
they
sense.
have so what do you do with all this salt, because it's not good for you to have that much salt in your body. And so what they actually do, what he discovered, was that they have these glands in their nasal passages called salt glands. They literally excrete a concentrated sodium chloride salt solution.
And that's what he found. That was like he probably published that in a journal or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, back in the day. And what happens is that stuff builds up, so they will literally sneeze salt, right? Because that's how they got to get rid of it, right? Think about blowing your nose, except it's full
Absolutely.
of crusty brine,
Oh
salt.
my gosh.
And
Fun
so
fact.
there was this stories of, yeah, the marine iguanas sneeze salt. Well, we're there, and there's this whole, and they're not huge. They're, they're decent size, but they're not massive lizards. And there they were, every few seconds, sneezing salt. And I got this on video. I was so happy to have seen that in person, because I knew about it, I'd read about it, but there they were doing it just like they wrote it up. It was great.
I absolutely hear what you're saying because when I was a child, I read a lot. So, places, experience, like and especially read a lot about the States, like,
Mhm.
or on TV, whatever. But to see it, to live it, that's something that you either imagine or that you saw on TV or you see pictures in a book.
Mhm.
Yeah, very kitsch what I'm gonna say, but that brings me joy to be able
Good.
to live it. So, I mean, did you actually get sneezed on by the iguana? Or
No,
no?
I didn't get sneezed on, but there was, there was probably like 3 dozen of them sitting there. It was great. It
Wow.
was,
And
it
were
was,
they just outside of the water?
yeah, they were just sitting on the, wherever they were. I can't, they could have been on a sidewalk for all I know.
And
We were walking through the town, and there was a sea lion on the sidewalk. We had to walk around the sea lion
in the town.
in the town.
Why do I think of Galapagos like not? I just see a park in my head, like or nature. I don't see a town or I don't see a
Well,
village or.
it's inhabited, obviously, but it's small. But there it is a local place. It's part of Ecuador, and so uh, most of it is protected. But there are small towns. You got to pull the boat up somewhere, and it has an airport. You fly there,
Mm.
so all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, it's not like heavily populated, but it's still, there's people there, fish, work, they do stuff.
Well, it does make sense too because you still need. I mean, with tourism, you still need to have the proper, I mean, environment. Like I'm sure there'll be like some sort of people like say, okay, well, I'll have a little, not a motel, but you know what I mean. Like you gotta have some sort of services there. So,
Right.
so I'm sure that the locals must start businesses
Oh,
that are
sure, because
related.
the whole tourism.
Yeah.
Frankly, if you go to the Galapagos, if you ever had the opportunity to do that, I would not do a land-based tour.
No.
As a travel agent and as someone who's been there, you want to do the small boat tour. There's big ships that are bigger, expedition ships that go there. But if you can be on one of the small boats, we were on one that was only like 16 passengers max or something like that. I think there was like 8 cabins or something.
Wow.
And we had all our meals, and what happens there is that you go in on time slots on permits,
Yeah.
to go ashore. And so you're already there, you're on the boat, and when your time comes, you have a slot with your group. Well, you're on the big boat, they have to juggle groups. Okay, you only get 30 minutes there.
Mm,
Where we go there, we had the whole hour and a half to ourselves. The
mm,
big boat's got to do it with 3 rounds in
mm,
the same hour and a half time slot that everybody
mm.
else got. But we were in places where I kid you not, so I like to joke about this, but like imagine seeing a large bird, like a pelican or something, or in this case, red-footed boobies, because they're not all blue-footed, in a tree, and being able to walk up to the bird, hand it your business card, and ask if you could take a selfie with it, because that is literally what they do. They do not fly away from you.
But they wouldn't eat
Yeah,
it?
well, so the rule there is you have to be 2 meters 6 feet away.
Mm,
That's your job as the visitor, because the birds don't know any better.
yeah.
So you could literally walk up and shake hands with them.
Wow. That's wow. I'm just blown away. Like this conversation, can it not stop? I just want to listen to all your, and especially because, as I've mentioned before, I absolutely adore wildlife, and I can spend, like, I don't know, just so many hours, like just observing animals. I mean, for me, it's just I'll notice the different, the I'm sure, when I find that's probably part of what makes you like photography, is that you like to observe and, like, kind of like take in. And in order to do that, you have to take the time, right?
Yeah. Well, and and I'll just say it's, especially with like bird and wildlife photography, it's, you get to be there, you get to observe them,
Yeah.
and then you get an extra reward if you get a good photo, because that's not easy to get a good photo. It means you have got the skills set,
Yeah.
and which is why 2 weeks ago down in San Diego, I had 4 clients, and they were just so happy because we were able to get to that point where now the camera part, you don't have to think about it, and you
Mm,
can just observe, and when that moment happens, you get it, and they could be very proud of their photos that they got, because it's not easy to do.
mm. No, I absolutely believe you. I mean, I have so much to learn. And yeah, you're well, now that I know you and that I've met you online, maybe you're my next best friend.
Well,
My next new best friend, anyways. But yeah, so Jason, I'm looking at the time. I think we have 5 or 6 minutes left, because we started a little bit, 1 or 2 minutes, it's okay. But so tell me, is there anything you would like to add in terms of not just making time for joy, but what does represent joy for you uh, in these, I guess I don't want to go back to the doom and gloom, but in these harder
these
times?
interesting times in which we live.
Yeah, yeah, let's go. Interesting is positive, but
Yeah,
yeah.
the old Chinese proverb, "May you live in interesting times," is more of a curse than a blessing, right? But
Absolutely. And
yeah,
some, I think I've seen quickly, was Monica said in the chat, I have to rewatch it to write down the quotes that you brought up. I saw that. Anyways, so yeah,
well, you know,
giving you the last words.
well, there's a lot of good out there. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there, whether you're like me and use a camera or not. But I think having an outlet that you can use as a way to detach, um, from the day to day,
Yeah.
and that's not easy all the time, but just whatever it might be. Um, I just got a set of new, markers. The alcohol one. They're supposed to be good markers, right? I got this big old set of markers, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I'm not the best artist, but I'm going to have a way to just, you know, try something different. Um,
My daughter wanted some for her birthday last year, so I got. and she's trying to do some animes like.
Oh, cool. Like the manga art.
Yeah. Oh, manga. Yeah, that's it. But
Okay.
what about you? What do you want to do with, especially like alcohol marker?
Well, I mean, I think they just apply really smooth. I think it's the alcohol based ink that
Mm.
makes it not, because markers are a pain. They over, you know, when you with a kid and you dry, and then if you overlapped it, now you got multiple lines on there. They're hard to use. So I don't know. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with them yet. Maybe I'll just use them to color in adult coloring books or something. But
Do you do that?
whatever.
Do you actually do adult coloring book?
I had
Okay.
some. I haven't done that in a while, but it's ways you gotta. I think it's just too easy for for everybody to not do the thing, what
Hmm.
because whatever that thing is, to not do the thing. It's why I like I like the concept of a photo workshop or tour or whatever, because when you show up, you're there. You signed up for this.
Hmm.
You paid for this.
Yeah.
You're damn well going to go out because, and guess what? It might be dark 30, but there's five or six other people who are equally, tired and dark 30. And then you get the reward of seeing that sunset come up over the Badlands in
Yeah.
South Dakota, and that first light hitting those rocks in ways that change the colors. And 10 minutes later, it's not that way. And
Yeah.
then as we're leaving with our tripods, the regular tourists are starting to come in. And it's like, yeah, sorry, show's over. We we were there an hour before they were there. So
Uh,
it's a great thing. And there you can really be just you in a expanse. It's wonderful. So whatever that is, the good news is that, as bad as the internet has bears bad news all the time, you can usually find tutorials and stuff for doing some of this stuff. So it's a
and
project.
so basically commit to a project, even if there will be a time where you're like, oh, what did I do? Like, I don't want to
Y-
do it, or do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and
Then
because and
once
it's
you've done it, you get the reward.
it's
Anyway.
cliche, but it's the journey, not the destination. I know
Oh,
that's silly cliche,
no, but it's
but
not.
you go through that process. I spent Christmas break. You probably watched my video on that, making those cyanotype prints from my photos. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but and they didn't always work, but I got a few that are good. And when it did work, I had even more joy
Oh,
because I had done that and like, wow, I got one that came out really nice. I don't think I have it here. No, it's in a different spot. But yeah, whatever that thing is, and make it your thing and enjoy it. If you don't like it, that's okay. You find something different.
that's great advice, and I'm sure that the okay, I'm gonna brag, the 173 people that I see,
Woohoo.
and then I think, I don't know where they are, but more too on. I'm using this restream. Thank you, Mr. Nick Perro, for allowing me to restream.
And if you're
Uh,
here, if you're here, don't forget to subscribe to everybody.
oh,
Hit
you know
that
what? This
hit
is the
that
time
subscribe button
where
for
it's
so
fun.
so
I'm
and
gonna try to use the
and hit those hearts.
QR. Okay, wait.
Oh,
Let's see, QR codes.
and,
Oops. What
and if
about
you're on
this one?
Substack, all you need to do is just
Oops.
type the
Uh oh.
names in the top.
That's how do I go from the other one? Okay.
Just hit the names up in the top where it says So's World and everybody, and just hit that, and you can subscribe right in
Yeah, I was
Substack.
just okay. Wait, I think I have. Do I have yours? Um. Anyways, I don't want to mix. I don't want to destroy
Don't
anything on the
cross the streams.
screen. But please just click on Jason's name and please subscribe to Jason. You've been a great, great co-host and guest. I really want to thank you for that time. And yeah, I know I've already asked. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I just hope you're willing to return the favor. I'll get you on my show one of these days once I get my show up and running.
Okay, sure. Yes, I will. For sure. It'll be my pleasure.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone. It was great to have you on Time for Life. And we will see you next week. And I think this is it. Stick around. I'm talking to you, Jason. All right.
Gotcha.
Bye, Substack community. It was great. I apologize for not being in the chat, but I will eventually learn how to use all of this. And don't also forget to um, subscribe to Sick of This Shit publications. Thank you. Bye. All right. There we go.